Caitanya Caritamrita, Adi-Lila. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhatta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhatta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We are on chapter 4, text 62. We are in the middle of the purport, but I'll just read the translation. Hladini is this aspect of bliss, Sandhini of eternal existence, and Samvit of cognizance, which is also accepted as knowledge. So these are the three divisions of the spiritual energy of Krishna. It's like broadly divided like that. His bliss, Hladini, by which he feels happy, Ananda. Sandhini of eternal existence. So means that's the Sat Shakti. We say Sat, Chit, Ananda, no? Sat. So Sandhini of eternal existence. That's how he's eternally existence. And Samvit of cognizance, of knowledge, by which he understands himself to be God, and the knowledge that he gives to us by which we can understand that he's God. Transcendental potency by which he knows himself and cause others to know him is called Samvit. And Hladini potency, the transcendental bliss he possesses and he causes his devotees to have that bliss. So the spiritual happiness we feel is the spiritual energy of Krishna, Hladini potency. So the material modes of nature control the material modes of nature control the conditioned souls, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead is never influenced by these modes, as all Vedic literatures directly and indirectly corroborate. So the material modes of nature, Rajogun, Sattvagun, and Tamagun, goodness, passion, and ignorance, they can control us. We come sometimes under goodness, sometimes passion, sometimes ignorance, but never the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord never comes under this control. I'm just trying to see, did we read this, Vishuddha Sattva? Or I'm not sure, where did we stop?
We were in the middle of it.
Somewhere here, I think, right?
We did.
Yeah, because I don't remember.
462, and we did until everyone is busy in the in the Leelas, and the Krishna let us feel the Hladini potency by the power of the Samvit potency.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So we are starting at the correctness. So thank you. So that means Krishna, he never becomes angry or ignorant, forgetting himself, or, passionate, full of passion, or even material goodness or pious activity. No. He is always on the transcendental platform, always. It is we, the tiny souls, because we are so tiny, we come under the influence of Maya. Krishna never comes under the influence of Maya. So Lord Krishna himself says in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, chapter 25, text 12, Sattvam Rajastama iti guna jivasya naivame. The material mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance are connected with the conditioned souls, but never with me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna, in the 11th canto, he's speaking the Uddhav Gita. He's giving knowledge to Uddhav. As he spoke Bhagavad Gita, he gave knowledge to Arjun. In the 11th canto is all the knowledge he gave to Uddhav Gita. And he's saying, I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna, he's the only one who says, I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all the authorities, they say Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the Vedic literatures will say Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one else says that. Never. Not Lord Shiva, not Lord Brahma, not Ganesh, not Hanumanji, not Durga Devi. It's only Krishna. And he's saying that goodness, passion, and ignorance, they never cover me. They only cover the conditioned souls. The Vishnu Puran confirms this as follows. Satvadayo na santi she yatra na prakrita gunaha sashuddha sarva shuddhebhya pumam adaya prasidato. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is beyond the three qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance. No material qualities exist in him. So Krishna has no material qualities. He is transcendental. May that original person, Narayan, who is situated in a completely transcendental position, be pleased with us. So even Vishnu Puran is saying that. Vishnu Puran is also saying that Narayan is completely transcendental, not material. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10:27-4, Indra praises Krishna as follows. So this is Indra's prayers to Krishna. Vishuddha sattvam tava dhama shantam tapomayam dvashta rajastamaskam maya mayoyam kunasam pravaho na vidyate grahana anubandhaha. My dear Lord, your abode is Vishuddha sattva, always undisturbed by the material qualities, and the activities there are in the transcendental loving service unto your feet. So this is the nature of the spiritual world. Even Lord Indra knows about it. He's saying that the spiritual world is Vishuddha Sattva. There is no goodness, passion, and ignorance. We can see here, practically, we might be speaking very sweetly to a person, but speaking, somehow we don't know how the conversation changes and we get angry at each other and we start fighting with each other. You know how the modes changed from goodness to passion, ignorance. We don't even come to know. We just get carried away. I'm sorry. But in the spiritual world, it's not like that. Spiritual world, there is no this material goodness, passion, and ignorance. And all the activities there, each and every activity over there is based in love. The reason that any living entity does anything in the spiritual world is because of the love for Krishna. The love for Krishna so much, they want to please him. And why do they love Krishna so much? Because that's our natural position. Each of us has this natural love for Krishna. He's such a wonderful, amazing person. His qualities, his wonderful qualities are an impetus to love him. When we see, we are very attracted to some people who have very wonderful qualities. We want to be with them. We appreciate them. We get attracted to them because of who they are. So this love, each living entity has this love for Krishna because of who he is. So the goodness, austerity, and penance of the devotees enhance such activities which are always free from the contamination of passion and ignorance. Material qualities cannot touch you under any circumstances. So here Indra is also giving one more evidence. He's saying material qualities can never touch Krishna under any circumstance, When not manifested, the modes of material nature are said to be in goodness. When they are externally manifested and active in producing the varieties of material existence, they are said to be in passion. And when there is a lack of activity and variegatedness, they are said to be in ignorance. In other words, the pensive mood is goodness, activity is passion, and inactivity is ignorance. So Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, when he gives very detailed knowledge of goodness, passion, and ignorance. I think it's in the 14th chapter, then also 17th, basically 14, 15, 16, 17, 14, 16, 17, 18, a lot is said about goodness, passion, and ignorance. So in goodness, what is it? That when not manifested, the modes of material nature are said to be in goodness. So pensive mode, gravity is goodness. Then activity, passion, lot of desires. And because we have these desires, we do so many things, so much activity. And then inactivity, ignorance, sleep, ignorance, don't want to do anything, lethargy, laziness. Above all these mundane qualitative manifestations is Vishuddha Sattva. When it is predominated, so all these three are there: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Huh? So above this, above these is Vishuddha Sattva, pure goodness. It's pure goodness where our mind does not make us crazy, that sometimes it has this desire, but then we are lazy, and then sometimes we are grave. How these modes, they drive us really crazy. In 1 hour, we could be having these different moods going on, but in the spiritual world, it's all pure goodness, only based on love. That's the feeling. The only feeling we have is love. So when it is predominated by the Sandhini potency, it is perceivable as the existence of all that be. So when it is predominated by the Sandhini potency, it is perceivable as the existence of all that be. So Sandhini is the Sat potency, the eternality, the eternal existence. And when predominated by Samvit potency, it is perceived as knowledge in transcendence. So by Samvit potency, we get knowledge. That is the knowledge. And when predominated by Hladini potency, it is perceived as the most confidential love of Godhead. So the Hladini potency is by which we feel pleasure, Krishna feels pleasure, and this pleasure is the love that we have, the love that Krishna has. Most confidential love of Godhead. Not many people know about it. Not many people. Sat feature, yes, many people know, because the Sat feature is the Brahman. Many people know, okay, Brahma Jyoti, liberation, moksha, mukti. A lot of people would know about this. Samvit is the knowledge and transcendence, but the Hladini potency, the love that Krishna has, the love that we have, most confidential. So Vishuddha Sattva, the simultaneous manifestation of these three in one, is the main feature of the kingdom of God. So here in the material world, we are under this goodness, passion, ignorance. That's how we do whatever we do. But in the spiritual world, in the spiritual planets, there is only pure goodness. And there what we are controlled with is the Samvit, Sandhini, and Hladini. Samvit, Sandhini, and Hladini. So we can see, oh, Samvit, just transcendental knowledge, perfect knowledge of who we are, who the Lord is. Hladini, always feeling happy, just being blissful, just loving. And Sandhini, eternally existence. So we can see, just by being in the spiritual world, we are happy. We do not have to endeavor. We don't have to work to be happy. We don't have to work to put away our miseries. Just by being there, it is happiness, because of the way it is structured. So any questions or comments till now?
We are talking about the three of this. So Sandhini, Samvit, and the Hladini Shakti, right?
Yes.
They are the three.
Yes.
And then they're telling us how they are, what it is actually.
Yes.
And then how the Vishuddha Sattva is greater than all of this.
Vishuddha Sattva is greater than goodness, passion, and ignorance.
So we have here Vishuddha Sattva also in the material world, or no?
Only pure devotees.
Okay, so only like Srila Prabhupada had that feeling and they were in that, right?
Yes.
All the pure devotees, all the Goswamis and Acharyas, the liberated. Okay.
Liberated personalities, they are in Vishuddha Sattva, not controlled by ignorance, passion, and goodness, because they're on the transcendental platform.
Okay.
And so we are being said that in this material world, we are controlled by this goodness, passion, and ignorance. And how, we can see practically how they drive us crazy. Sometimes goodness, sometimes passion, sometimes ignorance. And the mind is like, oh my God, where are we going? What am I doing? But in the spiritual world, how are we controlled? By this Samvit, Sandhini, and Hladini. And what does Samvit do? Samvit gives us knowledge. knowledge, who we truly are, who God truly is, what's my relationship with him. So it's such a good thing, no ignorance there anymore. And then Sandhini, eternal, we understand we are eternal, we are existing eternally. And Hladini, just happy, we are feeling happy because we are being controlled by this Hladini potency, we have this. So we are just happy, just blissful as Krishna is blissful. So he has these potencies, Samvit, Sandhini and Hladini, and he is sharing us these potencies because we are parts and parcel of him. Like that. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So I don't know if you want to finish this. We'll continue reading this Sandhini.
How long is it?
These two.
I think we can finish this one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think we can finish it.
Okay. So the absolute truth is
Chandra Devi, are you okay? I'm okay. We can finish it.
Okay, so anyway, it's the same topic, so we'll just. The absolute truth is therefore the substance of reality, eternal, manifest in three energies. The absolute truth is therefore the substance of reality, eternally manifest in three energies. So absolute truth. What is absolute truth? Is reality. You know, we think what is reality in our experience. We have so much reality right now. COVID is a reality for us, but it is relative. It's relative to today. I don't know how relevant is it going to be 5,000 years later. It was surely not relevant 5,000 years ago or even 5 years ago. So in the material world, whatever reality we have is very relative. But that's not the absolute truth. Truth means something which never changes. It's there, it's absolute, it's eternal. So the absolute truth is therefore the substance of reality, eternally manifest in three energies. So the absolute truth is a person, he's Krishna, and he has these three energies, Samvit, Sandhini, and Hladini. So the manifestation of the internal energy of the Lord is the inconceivably variegated spiritual world. The manifestation of the internal energy of the Lord is the inconceivably variegated spiritual world. So by his internal energy, by Krishna's spiritual energy, he is maintaining the spiritual world, which is inconceivable to us. It's really inconceivable to us, you know. Can't understand because our minds are material. Our experience, our everything is very material. We are unable to understand the variegatedness of the spiritual world. And the manifestation of the marginal energy comprises the living entities. So that is we. We are the marginal energy of Krishna. We, the living entities, each and every living entity. Not that, oh, only human beings are the marginal energy of Krishna. No, the birds, the trees, the plants, whoever, the demigods, the human beings, everyone, all living entities, they are marginal energy of Krishna. And the manifestation of the external energy is the material cosmos. So all this material manifestation that we are seeing, this material world, the material universes, anything that we are seeing here in this material world is Krishna's external energy. It's a manifestation of Krishna's external energy. Therefore, the absolute truth includes these four principles, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he's a person, he's God, and he's the Supreme. So he himself. Absolute. So now, what is absolute truth?
Sorry, just one question. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that means that when the manifestation of the internal energy is the spiritual world.
That's right.
And then the manifestation of the marginal energy, that is the jivas, us.
Yes.
So marginal energy is that would be in Samvit, no, nothing like that. That is the internal, external, and the marginal. They are the three other. Is it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
okay.
This we are being told that Samvit, Sandhini, and Hladini, Those are the further classifications of the internal energy.
Okay, internal energy.
Yeah, those are of the
Okay.
internal energy.
Okay, okay.
So
okay.
we are marginal. Why we are marginal is because we are very tiny. We are very tiny. So although we are parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, although we are Krishna's energy, but because our size is so tiny, we have the tendency to be covered by Maya. Krishna can never be covered by Maya. He's the Supreme. But we, because our size is very tiny, we have this tendency. That's why we are marginal. So sometimes we are under the shelter of Maya, sometimes shelter of internal energy, the spiritual energy.
So we are marginal because we are covered by Maya.
So marginal means on the margin. Margin.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
On the border.
Yeah.
On
At the border. Yes.
So we have this tendency. Sometimes in Maya, sometimes spiritual, sometimes Maya, sometimes spiritual. Because we are very tiny. Very tiny. Our size is very tiny. Although we are parts of Krishna. Although we are parts of Supreme Lord. It's like that. So Prabhupada would give the analogy, and also the Vedas, they give the analogy that there's a big fire. There's a big fire. And inside the big fire, there are these tiny, tiny individual sparks. Now, if one spark goes out of the big fire, then it will not be blazing anymore. It will not be like the fiery quality anymore. So that is us. Because we are tiny sparks of the fire. Krishna is like the big fire. He can never be overcome by Maya. But we have this tendency because we are small, very, very tiny. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's why we are called marginal or tatashta. Okay. And then external energy is Mahamaya.
Mahamaya. Okay.
So the form of the Lord and the expansions of his form as Swayamrup and Vaibhav Prakash are directly the enjoyers of the internal energy. Now we heard initially when we were starting the Caitanya Caritamrita, how Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami was giving us so much details about the form of the Lord, the expansions of the Lord. He was speaking in so much detail. So the form, the personal form of Krishna. And, okay, so he's called Swayamrup. And the Vaibhav Prakash. Vaibhav Prakash are his personal expansions. Personal expansions, the Vishnu Tattva. They are directly the enjoyers of the internal energy. So the Vishnu Tattva, the expansions of Krishna, which are Vishnu Tattva, they enjoy the internal energy. I'm sorry, which is the eternal exhibitor of the spiritual world, the most confidential of the manifestations of energy. So not many people know about this spiritual energy, internal energy of Krishna. It's very confidential. It's really people who really want to understand what's going on, what's the absolute truth. I want to know what's the absolute truth. So then that's why it's more confidential.
So just one clarification here, that the Swayam Rupa is the Krishna himself.
That's right.
Right? And then the Vaibhav Prakash are all his Vishnu Tattva expansions like Sri Ram, Narsimhadev, and all the other, whatever is the Vishnu
Remember,
Tattva.
we saw the chart?
Yes. That's why I'm trying to recollect and clear it out.
And then there's so many of this, Vaibhav Prakash, and then there were the others also. I can't remember very detailedly now.
And then this means that he is directly the enjoyer of the internal energy, means that they are in Sachit Anand and they are able to give that to the associates who, right?
That's right.
That's what it means?
Yes, that he's always, Krishna is always Sachit Anand, always eternally existence, always feeling happy, always in knowledge, never forgets, never ignorant. So yes.
And what is this one? Which is the eternal exhibitor of the spiritual world?
Which is the eternal exhibitor?
Yeah.
internal energy.
Okay, okay, which is the eternal exhibitor of the spiritual world. Okay, so like he is the exhibitor. The Vishnu Tattva, the Vaibhav Prakash, is the exhibitor of the internal energy, right? The
Yes.
spiritual world, like
The internal energy, the manifestation is the spiritual world, because spiritual world is also Satchidananda.
Yeah, okay.
Everything over there is Satchidananda. Everything.
Okay.
Yeah, like how here the planets are made of earth, water, fire, ether, like these elements, because these are material elements. But in the spiritual world, the planets are made of Satchidananda.
Okay.
So everything is Satchidananda. Everything. So they are forms. It's not that there are no forms, but those forms are Satchidananda, not made of this earth, water, air, fire. That's why it's called inconceivable, because we have no experience of this Satchidananda, although we are Satchidananda. But right now, because we are thinking, we are the body. So here, so now what is the absolute truth? Therefore, the absolute truth, what is it? Includes 4 principles. It's the Supreme Lord himself. But it's not that the Lord is alone. He has his energies. He has his internal energy. He has his external energy. And he has us, the jivas, the marginal energy. That is what, this is how we can see we are part of God. You know, we are part of God. We just think we are separate from God, but we are part of him because we are his energy. So he's there himself and he has these energies, internal, marginal, and external. Is that okay? Yeah. So then,
This is.
So the external manifestation, the material energy provides the covering bodies of the conditioned living.
The truth is,
I'm sorry?
The absolute
truth. Yeah.
Self, and that includes 4 principles.
Yeah.
Krishna himself, right?
Yes.
And that in these 4 principles.
So it's not that Krishna
right?
is alone. The point to be said is that it's not that God is alone, that there is nothing or no one with him. He's not alone. What does God mean? God, he is there and he has everything with him. And what is that everything? The spiritual world, his spiritual energy, the living entities, we has marginal energy, and the material world, which is his material external energy. Everything is, this is the absolute truth. There's nothing beyond this. There is nothing beyond this. Therefore, the absolute truth is just this. Now, we can try to find more details about these things, but thinking that there is something more than this. No, there is nothing more than this. But we can, yes, try to find out more and more about this, the Supreme Lord, the person himself. What's his internal energy? What's his marginal energy? What's his external energy? Yes. But this is the ultimate knowledge, nothing more than this. So then,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because we all want to know knowledge. What's knowledge? We try to study a lot. We try to study. So what's the truth? If we want to understand the truth, then this is the truth, absolute truth, which will never change. So the external manifestation, the material energy, provides the covering bodies of the conditioned living entities from Brahma down to the insignificant ant. This covering energy is manifested under the 3 modes of material nature and appreciated in various ways by living entities in both the higher and lower forms of life. So what is the external energy? This external energy is the material energy. Maya Devi, as we call her, Mahamaya. What does she do? She gives us these bodies. And she's giving all, even to Lord Brahma and even to the ant. Each of us have a different body. This is the function of the material energy. This covering energy, So what is she covering? What is she covering? She is covering our knowledge that we are parts and parcels of Krishna, that we have an eternal relation with Krishna. This is what her covering thing is. She can never cover Krishna. So the analogy Prabhupada gives is that the cloud is there. There's a cloud. The cloud is a result of the sun because of the condensation of the water and everything. So the cloud is formed. So then when the cloud is there, we, the living entities, cannot see the sun. We can't see it because our vision of the sun is covered, like today, for example. But does it mean that the cloud is actually covering the sun? No, the cloud can never cover the sun. The sun is much greater than the cloud. But the cloud covers our vision of the sun. So that is the function of Maya Devi. She covers our knowledge of Krishna. That is her covering potency. And then what is there? Under the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. That's how she's controlling us, giving us these bodies. And in these three modes of nature, we get attracted, we get, do different things under the influence of these three modes of nature. So each of the three divisions of the internal potency, the Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini energies, influences one of the external potencies by which the conditioned souls are conducted. Each of the three divisions of the internal potency, the Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini energies, influences one of the external potencies by which the conditioned souls are conducted. Such influence manifests the three qualitative modes of material nature, proving definitely that the living entities, the marginal potency, are eternally servitors of the Lord and are therefore controlled by either the internal or external potency. So what happens is we are marginal. So we have to be controlled. So we are being controlled by the Lord how? Either by his internal energy or his external energy. So this proves the point that we are eternally servitors of the Lord. We are eternally controlled by the Lord. We are controlled by him either by his internal energy or by his external energy. The choice is ours. The choice is ours. Do we want to be controlled by his external energy, which is this in this material world, or do we want to be controlled by his internal energy, his Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini energy, which is manifest in the spiritual world? Thinking that we are independent and that we do not need to be controlled either by the spiritual or the material energy is our thinking, because we are being controlled by the material energy. That's just, we are thinking, but it's not the fact. The fact is we are controlled by the material energy. So this shows our position that we are eternally controlled by the Lord. We are eternally servitors of the Lord, the living entities. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, and then of course the choice is ours. That choice, that Krishna doesn't. He just gives us this knowledge and then he says, up to you, whatever you want to do. But you are controlled. Now you desire if you want to be controlled by my spiritual energy or by my material energy.
So these, just as in the material world, we have the three modes, like the passion, ignorance, and passion, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Such we have in the spiritual world, we have Satchitanand. Is it that?
That's right.
Okay.
Yes. In the spiritual world, we have Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini.
Okay.
Like here we have goodness, passion, and ignorance. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. So the equivalent is Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini. So control we have to be, because we are marginal. We need to take shelter. It's like a creeper. a creeper has to grow, it takes the shelter of a tree. If a creeper says, no, I'm not going to take the shelter of a tree, then the creeper won't be able to thrive, won't be able to, grow properly.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. So we'll stop here for today. So we thinking that we are not controlled by the Lord means we are being controlled by the external energy because we do not have the knowledge. Because it's only in the samvit that we will have the knowledge, right? So when we are controlled by the spiritual energy, internal energy, we understand our situation perfectly. We have the knowledge that we are eternal, we don't change our body, and we feel the bliss, the ananda, happiness.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Shri Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.